Let's catch up with our good buddy, Mr. Jake Bolks, conservation warden for the great state of Wisconsin. Fresh off your trip up north there, Jake. First off, let's lead off with that. How was the trip up to Canada with you last week?
Canada was good.
Yeah?
I think we got pretty lucky with hitting it just right. The smoke had subsided where we went, so it wasn't super easy like everyone else was reporting. It rained down here the whole time, but up there it was sunny and 75, and the fish were biting, so I got no complaints. It was a really good trip, it was a really good time, and just good to kind of compress, get away, and phone off, so it was nice.
What were you pike, walleye, all the above? What were you fishing for?
Yeah, so mostly walleye and pike. And then we got the occasional smallmouth bass and stuff like that. But the target was definitely walleye and pike the 3-4 days we were out fishing. So it was a good time. It was a lot of fun. I know a lot of people have gone up this year, and it's a nice area.
How are the bugs?
Really good. When we got there, the horse flies were swarming. I thought it was going to be pretty bad, but we kind of cleared out the campsite, and a couple mosquitoes at sunset. But other than that, not bad bugs either. I really have no complaints. It was pretty. I feel like I got pretty lucky.
Nice. Yeah.
The one thing I guess I've never been that far north, so I didn't realize. We're 10 hours north from here, so the sun, it was still basically bright out at 10 o'clock at night. So it was like 10:30. It was almost 10:30, 11 o'clock at night before it was actually dark up there, which was pretty crazy.
I didn't even know that. So no.
Yeah, I didn't even think. I guess you're closer to the equator, or excuse me, the poles, so it makes sense. But yeah, it was. I mean, you didn't need a flashlight till about 11:30 at night, which is crazy.
Nice. Yeah, this time in Alaska, it never gets dark.
Yeah, exactly. So that's way further up there, but it was pretty cool. It was a really fun experience. I'm glad I went. I'm glad I had the opportunity. So.
Absolutely. Hey, speaking of smallmouth, Jake, let's start off with there because coming up this weekend, it's kind of weird to say it's in the middle of June here, but it's for the northern part. It's the opener for smallmouth season, right?
It is. So, if you're fishing north of 64, 27, and there's some other highway way up there near the north where the line is. I don't remember exactly, but long story short, if you want to keep smallmouth bass, the harvest season opens this weekend, which you said it's probably, besides, technically sturgeon in the fall, it's like the latest season opens. So, it'll be the last one for a bit. But yeah, so it's catch and release year round otherwise, but if you want to keep smallmouth, which there's definitely people that do, now is your time in the northern zone where you can actually do it.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So, hey, speaking of which, to question with fishing and that, say you have a john boat, a canoe, or whatever. Can you launch those boats as long as it's maybe like a public land? Can you launch them anywhere that you don't have to necessarily use a boat launch all the time? Can you launch them anywhere that you can get in water as long as you have permission or it's public land?
Yeah, no, exactly what you said is allowed. So, everyone thinks of if you're gonna put your boats or canoes in, kayaks, water or paddle boards. Most people go to boat launches or off their dock, which is totally fine. But if you're on some sort of county property or public, I guess down at there's a bunch of parks around Half Moon Lake, you can just grab your boat, whether it's a big rowboat and you've got two people to carry it. Canoe, a kayak, and you can, as long as you have the permission to be there, which public land lets you, you can put it in anywhere you want. So I definitely see a lot of that when it comes to river systems where people just go through the forests and dump them in wherever, or like I mentioned at parks on lakes. Once in a while, even down on Half Moon, not by the boat launch, but on the other side, I'll see someone carrying a rowboat like you're explaining down through the park, and then they put it in a new spot. So as long as you have permission to be there, you can bring it in.
Mm-hmm. Jake, too, I know this weekend it's going to get insanely hot and such, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to be out on the water and such. What would you safety stuff? Maybe just a good reminder for everybody that may be, going to hit the water on a very hot weekend.
Yeah. So a good thing to bring up with how warm it's going to be. So most people think, when you go out there, a lot of people got their, especially in the morning, you got your coffees or your energy drinks. You got potentially beer, stuff like that. People might bring like one water bottle or maybe not even any water, but you got to remember that when you're out in a boat, the sun's beating down on you. Just because you got water around you, you're probably not going to be drinking the lake water. So you want to stay hydrated. You can really quickly get dehydrated out in the water, especially if you're drinking. If you're out on a canoe, kayak, and then, obviously if you have some sort of medical episode that is because you're dehydrated or you got heat stroke or something like that, if you're out in the middle of the water, somewhere out on public or private property away from others, and you have that medical emergency, you're going to be in kind of a world of trouble there. So just like in the winter, when you're out on the ice all day, you got to stay hydrated. So make sure to bring out extra water, bring out your suntan lotion, bring out your sun hats. Even if you look like a dork wearing a big sun hat, like I do, it's good to keep that sun off your neck and your face and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Have you gotten a boat? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was sorry. I was going to say not to get into like this long-term health stuff, but I do know some wardens that have already had surgery to get skin cancer removed from their nose and face because we're out in the boats and out in the sun all the time. And I know there's fishermen that we check that spend a lot more time in the sun than we do. So it's just a good reminder that even if it doesn't seem like something you would normally do, is to throw on some of that sunblock, throw on a big goofy hat, maybe wear long sleeves so you're protected from the sun.
Yeah, definitely. Have you gotten your boat out yet there, intern, or gone out in the boat yet?
No, I haven't been on the water yet, but
No.
hopefully this weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
There you go. On these warm days, I mean, the mornings are always nice still. It might be a little bit muggier or hot than usual, but especially if you're going fishing, I mean, if you get up early, get on the water 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, spend a couple hours and pull off before lunch, I mean, it's still going to be a beautiful day. Not too hot, fish should be biting, so there's still a lot of opportunity. Might not be ideal, though, to go out at 3 in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm. Jake, this is a random, probably dumb question that just popped up in my head that I kind of wanted to ask you. It involves deer hunting and such, but with public land hunting, can people, like, if there's an open area in public land in like the Shawamigan or whatever, could they plant a food plot in there?
No.
Okay.
Unless that managing body, so like the federal forest or the county land or whatever, who's ever managing it, unless in their rules of what you can do on the property, they specifically say you can put food plots or cut trees down or whatever, then you can. But if it doesn't have any of that stuff, you can't.
Okay.
So this might seem counterintuitive, but for me, it's always made the most sense to me is like, even if you think of all these public properties as private land, like it's private land owned by the federal government but open to the public. It's private land owned by Eau Claire County but open to the public. If you think about it that way, then it kind of puts in the mind like, okay, somebody owns and manages it. They have their own rules, but they allow me to come onto their land and hunt and fish and walk and bird sight and whatever. So you always want to double check and look at what the rules of their land is that they allow people to access it. And 99.99, maybe even 100% of the time, they don't allow you to cut big trees. They don't allow, without a permit. They don't allow you to camp without a permit. They don't allow you to build food plots or divert rivers or dig holes or different plants without some sort of permit or special rule. So you want to respect no matter whose property you're going on by, leaving it as much as it is when you get there and reading their rules on what you can and can't do out there.
Jake, what have you heard, if anything, when this administration came in, cutting funds for like the national parks, and I don't know if they've done it for the national forests or things. They've had to cut some staff and educational programs and services. Have we seen that? Have you heard from your counterparts that work for the federal government in the forests in Wisconsin that more limited hours, limited access? Is it anything changed this year for people that like to visit the national forest, go camping or whatever the case may be?
Yeah, no, good question. I haven't personally or professionally heard of much here in Wisconsin. I think through the rumor mill, I might have heard that there's one or two less positions, so there might not be as much maintenance or potential like patrolling of different areas. But as far as I'm aware, like if it was open last year, accessible to the public, stuff like that, that's still available. Some of the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service officers I've worked with, I still work with them. I think different administration has different priorities on what they're kind of focused on from day-to-day activities. But for the most part, it seems like stuff's status quo. Where I've seen a little bit of a difference because of potential changes is just like the state is heavily funded. The state in whole, but especially the DNR, is heavily funded through different federal grants and federal funds. So the not getting all those federal funds can affect the state DNR and the state system as a whole, and that could impact hours that there's customer service staff at different parks or properties, or different positions if you're looking to get in for like a limited, like a seasonal job or even full-time jobs. If there, a lot of our jobs, not a lot, but some of the jobs are federally funded. Like you're working with the DNR, but you're actually paid out through the federal funding. So if we don't get that funding, then those jobs disappear. So I haven't seen a huge hit in our system yet, but there's definitely little inconveniences that have happened. But
I would just thinking because we have some of those nature hikes people can go on with a trained warden.
Yep.
If those have been cut back.
I haven't seen it. I know like some of the office hours, like at state parks, when you come in to like buy passes or register your campsite or just buy knickknacks, I've seen some of those hours get cut, or maybe some staff wasn't hired, and that partly could be because of federal funding, and it also could just be partly because the state, the state as a whole isn't funded as well as it used to be through the legislative process. So there's some minor changes, but luckily a lot of the state services have gone to, and federal services have gone to some sort of version. So you can, even if there's not someone in a building, you can still buy park passes, buy vehicle passes, buy your hunting, fishing, trapping license, register your boats, or get your federal duck stamps. Those are all things you can do electronically from your house or lake. So that part of it isn't affected.
Good stuff, Jake. We appreciate the time as always, buddy. If you got to be out this weekend, stay safe, stay cool, and again, go ahead. Yeah,
I'll be on a little bit. I'm excited. On Sunday, I'm actually sneaking over to go to the Twins River game, so that'll be fun.
What day are you going?
Sunday afternoon.
Okay, yeah, we're going Saturday. So.
Okay.
Yeah. But,
either way, it's going to be warm out there, but I'm excited to see the Brewers play, see the Twins play. I like both teams, so it's fun.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. Well, hey, you have fun. We appreciate it, buddy, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Have a good one.
You got it. There you go. Jake Bolks joining us here this morning.